it's Janelle and welcome back to Rosery Apparel. Today I'm so excited to be sharing my fourth sewing pattern with you, the Hannah wrap skirt. I'm so in love with this adorable wrap skirt pattern and I'm so excited to finally be sharing it with you today. It is such a quick and easy sewing project to make and it's perfect for beginners, and I hope you love it as much as I do. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make the Hannah wrap skirt step by step. And stay tuned until the end of the video where I'll be sharing how to attach a lining if you're working with sheer fabric, and also how to customize the length of the skirt to make it more your style. The pattern itself is available in sizes 4 to 24, and I'll have a link to the size guide down below so you can check out which size is best for you. And you can purchase the pattern either in paper form, which is this pattern here, all nicely packaged up with an instruction booklet, or you can also purchase the pattern digitally so you can download it, print it, and start sewing with it right away. Purchasing one of my sewing patterns is an amazing way to support me and my channel and allows me to be able to make helpful and inspiring content for you. So without further ado, let's jump into it and let me show you how to make this beautiful wrap skirt. The Hannah wrap skirt pattern includes 3 designs in one pattern. Skirt A, which features a cute ruffled hem, Skirt B, which has a simple classic wrap skirt design, and Skirt C, which has a curved wrap design. And all 3 styles have pockets. You can make the skirt out of pretty much any fabric you like. For my skirts, I'm going to be using this lovely pile of cotton and linen fabrics. Once you have a copy of your pattern, cut out all the pieces in your size. Alternatively, you can use some tracing paper to trace out the pattern in your size so you can keep the pattern whole for use later. Something I love about this pattern is how few pattern pieces there are. It is seriously such an easy sewing project to make. On the skirt front piece, you'll notice there are a few cut lines depending on the style of skirt you're making. I'm going to be making style A in this video, so I'm going to be cutting out the template along the curved line. Now it's time to cut out the pieces in my fabric. For this skirt, I'm using the most lovely gingham linen fabric from the fabric store, and I'll have a link to it in the description of this video. Once all your pieces are cut, it's time to start sewing. Follow the following steps for all 3 skirt styles. Using a water erasable pen or some tailor's chalk and the skirt front and back templates, mark the 3 points of each dart onto the wrong side of the fabric pieces. Make each dart by matching the 2 top markings together and fold until the point of the dart and pin in place. Stitch the darts, starting at the point and without backstitching, to the bottom of the dart, creating a kind of triangle shape. Once the darts are sewn, tie off the loose threads at the point of the dart with a double knot. And then press the darts flat, making sure to press them towards the centre of the skirt. The darts help to give the skirt some shape. Next, take your 4 pocket pieces and overlock along the curved edge to prevent them from fraying. If you don't own an overlocker, that's totally okay. You can simply use a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine instead. Then, with right sides together, pin the pocket pieces onto the skirt front and back pieces, matching the notches at the side, and then stitch them in place. Overlock or zigzag stitch along the side seam and then press the pockets out. With right sides together, pin the skirt fronts onto the skirt back, matching the pockets together. And stitch together along the side seam and about 4 centimeters or 1.5 inches at the top of the skirt like this. As you sew, remember to stitch around the pocket edge. Do this by placing the needle into the fabric when you get to the pocket and turn the fabric to then be able to stitch around the sharp corners of the pocket. Press the pocket seam towards the front of the skirt, and the inside of your skirt should be looking a little something like this. Next, with the pocket pressed towards the front skirt piece, baste it in position, which you can do by setting your sewing machine length to a longer setting and then stitch the pocket in place. It's important to use longer stitches to make them easier to remove later if you need to. Now let me show you how to make the ruffled hem for skirt A. With right sides together, place the ruffle front to the ruffle back, matching the side notches together. Then stitch them together. To hem the curved ruffled edge, we're going to need to use some gathering stitches. So set your sewing machine stitch length to the longest possible setting and sew a length of gathering stitches along the curved parts of the ruffle, approximately 1 centimetre or half an inch from the edge of the fabric. Then gently pull the top thread of the stitching to gather up the fabric slightly. Gathering up the fabric slightly makes the curved hem sit nice and flat. Then repeat this process to hem the ruffle a second time to enclose the raw edges on the inside. Stitch the hem in place, then stitch 2 rows of gathering stitches along the other edge of the ruffle between the notches. Gently pull on the top 2 threads to gather the ruffle up until it's about the same size as the curved edge of the skirt. With right sides together, pin the ruffle to the skirt, matching the side seams together. Stitch in place, and then remove any exposed gathering stitches with a seam ripper. Then give the ruffle a good press with your iron, and you should now have an adorable ruffled hem. Next, let me show you how to hem skirt B. Start by hemming the sides of the skirt by folding and pressing them in by about 1 centimetre or half an inch twice. Then stitch in place. Then do the same for the bottom edge of the skirt. For skirt C, we have another curved edge to hem. So like we did for the ruffles, stitch a length of gathering stitches along the curved parts of the skirt, then gently pull the top thread of the stitching to gather up the fabric slightly to help the fabric sit nice and flat around the curve. Then repeat to enclose the raw edges onto the inside and stitch in place. Now it's time to attach the waistband, and for all 3 skirts it's the same process. First up, take the left tie piece and fold and press one of the shorter edges in by about 1 centimetre or half an inch. Then press the 2 longer edges in by the same amount. Then fold and press the tie in half, enclosing the raw edges onto the inside. Repeat this process for the right tie. Top stitch along the edges of the tie to secure the folds in place. And you should now have two ties, the left being the longer one. Next, take the waistband and fold and press the non-notched edge in by about 1 centimetre or half an inch. Then place the right tie to the right hand side of the waistband with the raw edge matching the raw edge of the waistband and position it approximately 1 centimetre or half an inch from the folded edge. Then do the same for the left tie, but this time place it on the left hand side of the waistband. Baste the ties in place. Next, with right sides together and matching the notches, pin the waistband to the skirt. Then stitch in place. Once stitched, fold the waistband in half with right sides together and stitch together like this. Trim away the excess fabric and then turn the waistband right side out. Next, press and fold the waistband so that it covers the stitching and encloses the raw edge inside the waistband. Then top stitch along the entire waistband, securing the opening closed as you stitch. You could instead hand stitch the waistband onto the inside if you didn't want to have any of the top stitch showing. And you should now have a waistband in place with all of your raw edges nicely enclosed inside. Now all that's left to do is make the opening that the ties are going to wrap through. Using a water erasable pen or some tailor's chalk, mark a 4 centimetre or 1.5 inch buttonhole at the side seam of the right hand side of the waistband. Set your machine to a zigzag stitch and change your stitch length to 0.4 and your stitch width to 2.5. Stitch along the two lengths of your buttonhole marking. Then change your stitch length to 0.2 and your stitch width to 6. And sew a few stitches along the top and bottom of your buttonhole to finish it. Using a seam ripper, open your buttonhole by cutting the fabric inside, being careful not to cut any of your stitching. And you should now have a little side opening that looks like this. Press the opening and simply thread the left tie through the opening, bring it around the back of the skirt and then tie the two ties together into a bow at the side. And your beautiful wrap skirt is complete. So, how do they look? Next, let me show you how to add a lining to the skirt. Cut out and make the lining the same as for the skirt until it's time to hem them. When hemming the lining, instead of hemming by 1 centimetre or half an inch twice, hem by 2 centimetres or an inch twice instead. And you should have two nearly identical skirt pieces, the lining piece being slightly smaller and shorter than the main piece. With wrong sides together, place the main skirt onto the lining, matching the notches along the top together. Then pin the waistband to the skirt layers with right sides together and matching the notches together. stitch in place, sewing all of the layers of the skirt together. Then continue to stitch the waistband in place as I've just shown in this video. Once the waistband is secured in place, you should now have a lining which nicely covers the construction of the skirt and the pockets to the inside. And lastly, let me show you how to customise the length of the pattern to suit your style. On the skirt front and back and ruffle front pattern pieces, you should find a lengthen, shorten cut line. Cut along this line. To shorten the skirt, simply overlap the pattern pieces until you have the length you prefer. To lengthen the skirt, take a large piece of paper and fasten the top of the skirt back pattern to it. Then position the bottom of the pattern however much away as you'd like to lengthen the skirt by. I lengthened mine by about 20 centimeters or 8 inches and used a ruler to line the pieces up nicely like this. Then fasten the bottom of the pattern in place, adding extra space to the pattern piece as needed to match the top piece. Then do the same for the front skirt, and you should now have 2 new pattern pieces that look like this. Also, don't forget to lengthen the ruffle front pattern piece if you're lengthening skirt A. Then simply make the skirt the same way you would normally. And you should now have a lovely midi version of the Hannah skirt. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that you're now inspired to have a go at making this beautiful little wrap skirt for yourself. Making these sewing patterns is such a joy for me, and I feel so lucky to be able to do what I love every single day, and it's all thanks to your support. So if you have purchased a copy of my pattern, then thank you so much. Your support means the absolute world to me. If you have a go at making this wrap skirt for yourself, then I would love to see it. So be sure to tag me at Rosery Apparel when you share your photos on Instagram, and use the hashtag Rosery Apparel so I can see. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure you subscribe to this channel for more sewing type videos like this one. Have a lovely day and thanks for watching.